This is Eoraptor. He is about a meter long, and most of that is tail. He weighs roughly 10 kilograms, about the same as a medium-sized dog. He runs on two slender back legs with small grasping hands held in front of him, and a long neck that he keeps low when he moves. His teeth are strange. At the back of his jaw, they are converted and serrated, built for tearing meat. At the front, they are leaf-shaped, better suited to plants. He is not a specialist. He eats whatever the day gives him. Right now, he is picking his way through dry scrub beside a seasonal river, in a place that will one day be northwestern Argentina. The date is roughly 231 million years ago. Nobody would look at this animal and predict anything. He is small. He is outnumbered. In the valley he lives in, dinosaurs are a minority, perhaps one animal in 20. The large, dangerous, successful creatures around him belong to entirely different families. His name means Dawn Plunderer. Dawn, because he stands at the very beginning of the story we are about to tell. Because every dinosaur that has ever existed is either descended from this animal or from something very close to him. The long-necked giants, the armored tanks, the tyrant kings. Every single one of them traces back to something small and unremarkable, standing beside a river, eating whatever it can find. This is the story of his family, all 165 million years of it. And it does not end where you think it does. To understand why Eoraptor matters, you have to understand how badly the odds were stacked against him. Step out into his world. The heat is dry. Not the wet weight of a jungle, but the kind that pulls moisture off your skin and out of your mouth. The wind carries grit. The horizon shimmers. He is standing on Pangaea. Every continent on Earth is currently fused into one enormous landmass. There is no Atlantic Ocean. From where this animal is standing, you could walk to what will one day be Norway or Antarctica or China and never once cross open water. A landmass that big does violent things to weather. The coasts get rain. The deep interior gets almost nothing. The seasons swing hard, drenching storms on the margins, followed by long stretches of nothing at all. Look at what grows here. Not grass. Grass does not exist yet anywhere on this planet, and it will not exist for another 150 million years. No flowers either. Those are still 80 million years away. Along the water, there are horsetails and seed ferns. On the slopes, tough, waxy conifers built to survive drought, and squat cycads with crowns of stiff fronds. And here is the part that surprises everyone. The dinosaurs are not in charge. The animals that dominate this valley are archosaurs from the crocodile side of the family tree. Rauisuchians, 4 to 6 meters long, built like armored predators with skulls deeper and heavier than anything Eoraptor's relatives possess. Phytosaurs lie in the rivers, looking almost exactly like crocodiles, despite not being crocodiles at all. Around them, herds of stocky-beaked plant-eaters called rhynchosaurs, and small, furry-looking cynodonts, the animals that are quietly becoming mammals. In this world, our dinosaur is a footnote. He hunts insects and small reptiles. He eats plants when he has to, and he stays out of the way of everything bigger than him. But he is carrying something none of them have. For a long time, people assumed the age of dinosaurs meant thick, oxygen-rich air. The evidence suggests the opposite for this stretch of time. Models of the ancient atmosphere point to oxygen levels noticeably lower than today's. Breathing on this plane might feel like standing halfway up a mountain. And in that thin air, one group of animals had a better engine. Eoraptor's lineage developed a breathing system built around air sacs, with air flowing one way through the lungs in a continuous loop, rather than in and out like a bellows. It is the same system a bird uses today, which is why a goose can fly over the Himalayas at an altitude that would leave you unconscious on the floor. That is not a footnote. That may be the reason his family inherits the Earth. But it is not enough on its own, not yet. He needs the competition to disappear. 30 million years pass. Eoraptor is long gone. His descendants and relatives have spread, diversified a little, grown somewhat larger, but they are still living in a world that belongs to somebody else. Then, around 201 million years ago, the planet tears itself open. Pangaea has been under strain for millions of years, and now it cracks. An enormous volcanic province erupts along the line where the Atlantic Ocean is trying to be born. Not a single volcano. Vast floods of lava pouring out across an area spanning what is now eastern North America, western Africa, and northern South America. The eruptions pump carbon dioxide and sulfur into the atmosphere on a scale that reorganizes the entire climate. The oceans acidify, temperatures swing. Ecosystems that have been stable for tens of millions of years come apart. This is the end Triassic extinction, and it is one of the 5 worst events in the history of life. And it is very selective about who it kills. The great crocodile-line predators, the Rawasuchians, who had outranked Eoraptor's family for 30 million years, are almost entirely wiped out. The Phytosaurs go. Most of the big competing archosaurs go. Of that whole enormous branch, only one small group of crocodile relatives survives, and their descendants are the crocodiles and alligators we still have today. The dinosaurs come through it, not because they were tougher, not because they were smarter, possibly because of that lung, possibly because of body size, possibly because of luck. This is still argued about, but when the dust settles, an entire planet's worth of large animal niches is standing empty. And the descendants of a small omnivore from Argentina walk out into it. Within a few million years, everything changes. Dinosaurs stop being a minority. They stop being small. In one geological blink, they go from the edges of the ecosystem to the center of it. And for the next 135 million years, no other group of land animals gets a look in. The door opened. His family walked through. Now the family tree explodes. Very early on, probably before Eoraptor himself, the dinosaurs split into 2 great branches, and the difference between them is in the hips. One group has hips arranged one way. We call them the lizard-hipped dinosaurs. The other group has hips arranged differently, and we call them the bird-hipped dinosaurs. Here is the joke that paleontology has been living with for a century. Birds did not come from the bird-hipped ones. They came from the lizard-hipped side. The names were assigned before anyone knew. Follow the bird-hipped branch, and you get the armored and the horned. Stegosaurus, with its double row of plates and spiked tail. Ankylosaurus, built like a living tank with a bony club on the end. Triceratops, with its 3 horns and enormous neck frill. And the hadrosaurs, the duck-billed animals that will eventually move in herds numbering in the thousands. Follow the lizard-hipped branch, and it splits again into the two lines that will define the age. One line runs toward the meat-eaters, small at first, fast, built on the same plan Eoraptor had, 2 legs and grasping hands. These are the theropods, and they will produce Allosaurus, Spinosaurus, Velociraptor, and Tyrannosaurus rex. The other line goes somewhere nobody would have predicted. It goes up. And here is where the story becomes personal, because there is a real argument about which side of that split Eoraptor himself belongs on. When he was first described in 1993, he was classified as an early meat-eater, one of the first theropods. Later work by the same scientist who named him moved him, suggesting he might sit at the base of the long-necked line instead. Those mixed teeth are why. Leaf-shaped at the front, serrated at the back. He is caught at the exact moment the family is deciding what it wants to be. So follow the branch he may have started. By the late Triassic, an animal called Plateosaurus is walking across what is now Europe. He stands on his hind legs, has a long neck, a small head, and reaches 8 meters or more. He weighs several tons. Compared to Eoraptor, he is a monster. Compared to what is coming, he is a prototype, because his descendants keep growing. By the Jurassic, the neck has stretched, the body has thickened, the animal has dropped onto all 4 legs, and something extraordinary is walking through the conifer forests of North America. Diplodocus, 26 meters from nose to tail tip. Brachiosaurus, with front legs longer than its back legs, holding its head high above the canopy. Later, in South America, Argentinosaurus, possibly over 30 meters long and weighing as much as 10 African elephants. These are the largest animals ever to walk on land, and they exist because of 2 things. The first is the food. The Jurassic world is green now. Pangaea has split, new coastlines have appeared everywhere, ocean moisture reaches the continental interiors, and the deserts have pulled back. Conifer forests stretch across the planet. There is no ice at either pole, none at all, and the poles themselves are forested and seasonal rather than frozen. But conifer needles and fern fronds are terrible food. Tough, fibrous, low in nutrition. One way to survive on that is to become enormous, consume colossal amounts, and let it ferment inside you for a long time. A sauropod is, functionally, a walking fermentation chamber on 4 columns. The second thing is the lung. That same air sac system Eoraptor carried across the Triassic desert is still there, and in these animals it has spread into the bones themselves. Sauropod vertebrae are riddled with hollow spaces, air pockets threaded right through the skeleton. Their necks are closer to a scaffold than a solid beam, light enough to lift, strong enough to hold. A solid bone neck that long would be impossible. The lung made the giant. The trees built these animals, and their own breathing system let them be built. Meanwhile, on the other branch, the meat-eaters have grown to match. Allosaurus stalks the same forests, 8 to 9 meters long, working the edges of the herds. The family that could not compete with a crocodile relative is now producing the largest land animals in the history of the planet. The Cretaceous is the family at its widest. The continents have separated properly now, drifting into shapes you could almost pick out on a map. And separation does something powerful to evolution. Populations get isolated. Isolated populations diverge. The result is an explosion of new forms on every landmass. Sea levels are so high that shallow water cuts straight through the middle of continents. North America is split down its length by a warm inland sea full of long-necked plesiosaurs and enormous marine lizards. Parts of Europe are scattered islands, and in the early part of this period, something small happens that changes the color of the entire world. A flower opens. The first flowering plants are modest, easy to overlook among the ferns. Then they take over faster than almost anything in the history of life. Because a flower is a deal, an offer made to an animal. Carry my pollen and I will feed you. That arrangement binds plants and insects together and reshapes every ecosystem on the planet. Magnolias, water lilies, then flowering trees pushing up through forests that had been nothing but conifers for 100 million years. For the first time, Eoraptor's descendants are moving through a world with color in it. Grass, though, is barely here. It arrives right at the end, and there are no grasslands, no prairies, no savannas. Those come tens of millions of years later, long after every animal in this story is dead. And the animals themselves are not what you were told. We now have direct fossil evidence of feathers across a wide range of dinosaurs, especially on the meat-eating branch. Not just simple fuzz, complex branching feathers, structures for insulation and display. In some species, full wings on animals that could not fly. We can even say something about color. Inside exceptionally preserved fossils, researchers have found melanosomes, the microscopic structures that carry pigment. Their shape relates to color, and by comparing them to the melanosomes in living birds, scientists have reconstructed the actual coloration of specific dinosaurs. One small feathered species has been reconstructed as ginger brown with a striped tail, which is worth pausing on because that is almost exactly what Eoraptor may have looked like 165 million years earlier. Their behavior was not simple either. We have found nesting colonies with hundreds of nests in the same ground, used season after season, with juveniles preserved inside them at sizes showing they were fed after hatching. We have trackways where dozens of individuals move together in the same direction at the same speed. Herding, nesting, parental care, display. By 67 million years ago, the family that started with one small omnivore in Argentina is on every continent on Earth, including Antarctica. It ranges from animals the size of a chicken to animals the weight of a passenger jet. They have been the dominant land vertebrates for 135 million years. And they have about a year left. 66 million years ago, on an ordinary spring morning, an asteroid, roughly 10 to 15 kilometers wide, strikes the shallow sea near what is now the Yucatan Peninsula. It hits at around 20 kilometers per second, with the force of billions of nuclear weapons. It carves a crater more than 180 kilometers across. Molten rock is blasted into space and falls back across the entire planet, turning the sky into a broiler and igniting forests on continents thousands of kilometers from the impact. Then comes the dust. Billions of tons of it, thrown high enough to circle the globe and stay there. The sky goes dark. In many places, too dark for plants to photosynthesize. And when the plants die, everything dies. The great herds starve first. There is not enough left on a darkened, cooling planet to feed a 30-ton animal. The predators that hunted them follow. The oceans collapse from the top down as the plankton fail. Roughly 3 out of every 4 species on Earth are gone. Every branch of Eoraptor's family is wiped out. The armored ones, the horned ones, the duckbills, the tyrant kings, and the giants, the long-necked line that may have started with him. Every single one. 165 million years of history ends in what geologists see as a single instant. Almost. Because one twig on that enormous family tree does not die. Deep inside the meat-eating branch, among the small feathered animals that had been evolving lighter bones, better feathers, and stronger flight muscles for tens of millions of years, a handful of species make it through. They are small. They can hide. They can eat seeds, which survive in the soil when everything green above ground is gone. They need very little to live. They are birds. Not descendants of dinosaurs, not related to dinosaurs. Birds are dinosaurs, on the same branch, in the same family, an unbroken line running all the way back through the theropods, through the early meat-eaters, to something small and slender, standing beside a river in Argentina 231 million years ago. There are around 11,000 species of them alive right now. There is one outside your window. It has hollow bones threaded with air sacs. It has a one-way lung. It has feathers, three-fingered hands folded into its wings, and it lays eggs in a nest and feeds its young. Every one of those features was already being assembled in the Triassic, in anything that would never fly. The pigeon on your windowsill is the last chapter of the same story that started with Eoraptor. So here is the shape of it. A small omnivore, 1 meter long, living at the margins of a world that belonged to somebody else. Not the strongest thing in his valley, not even close. Just an animal with an unusual set of lungs, waiting for a catastrophe he would never see. His family became the largest creatures that ever walked. They covered every continent. They ruled for 135 million years, which is a length of time so far beyond human history that the comparison stops working. Then they were erased in an afternoon. And one twig survived and became 11,000 species and is sitting in the tree outside right now. That is what the fossil record actually says. Not that dinosaurs were monsters, or that they failed, or that they belonged to a dead past. They were animals in ecosystems on a planet that kept changing underneath them, and their story never actually stopped. It is still running. You just have to look up. If you want to keep walking through Earth's older worlds with us, subscribe and tell me in the comments which branch of that family you would want to see alive. Next time, we go back further to an Earth that even Eoraptor would not have recognized.